Never lie. Never, ever lie. Unless you know how to. I learned my lesson early. I learned it when I was in the 7th grade. When I was 13 years old, I hid my report card and I told my parents all kinds of lies because I was getting into drugs. I was just being a bad boy, okay? And I started telling lies about my report card because my report card was a disaster. And I also started telling lies because I was hanging out with the wrong kind of kids, you know, and doing drugs and just being a bad boy, right? And eventually this house of cards collapsed. And I learned my lesson, which is never lie, never lie, never ever lie. And the reason is so simple, because you forget your lies. I mean, come on, how many times have you forgotten where your keys are? Your keys are actually important. Or how many times have you forgotten, for instance, the password to your bank account online? Yeah, you forget about it all the time, and it's actually really important. And more to the point, it's true. You forget things all the time. Your memory is incredibly fragile. You could be in like some, you could be the witness, say, to some car crash. You see some car crash happen. It's like, wow, this is incredible. It was like horrible and blah, 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 right? And maybe a week or two later, you happen to see a videotape of that same car crash, you know, security camera or whatnot. And you see that video and all of a sudden you see details that you had forgotten. I mean, really important details, maybe like the car doors flew off or something like that. Something really important about this car crash that you witnessed. It was a shock to you when you saw it and you forgot these crucial details. Of course, the videotape doesn't forget, but your memory does. So if you forget things that are actually true, that are actually important to you, what do you think is going to happen with a lie that you tell? You're going to forget it. Of course you're going to forget it. You're going to forget it because it's a fiction you made up. You forget stories. You know, I tell my small children stories, you know, bedtime stories, and I keep forgetting the damn plot. You know, it's basically, it started off with Jack and the Beanstalk, and it's just grown off into this weird, you know, story that all kinds of crap happens, and I forget the story, right? I didn't write it down or anything. I just make it up as I'm going along. And my kids, they remember details, and I think to myself, did I say that? I guess I must have, you know, because I've completely forgotten because it's a fiction. If you tell a lie, a fiction, you're going to forget it. You're going to forget it, and other people might not, probably won't forget it. Because from their point of view, when they heard you say something, they heard something that they assumed to be true, and therefore it latched onto their memory. But you told a lie, a fiction, and it just slid right off your memory. Because it wasn't a lived experience. They lived the experience of hearing you say XYZ. But you made up XYZ, and that's why you forget it. And that's why it's so dangerous. That's why you never tell a lie. So for these reasons, you never tell a lie. You never tell a lie actively. You lie passively. You lie passively, you lie by omission. That's the way to lie. You never tell something that is not true. You omit information that you know. That is the way to effectively lie. That is a way to lie in a way that you'll never get caught. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, because if you forget to say something, some truth, some vital piece of information, you can say, oh no, I didn't lie, I just forgot to say this, right? And what's anybody going to say to that? They're not going to say shit, because we all know that our memories are fragile. And if you claim that you forgot to mention some key detail, who's going to hold it against you? You see my point? And if the person independently finds something out that you failed to mention, how exactly did you lie about it? You just didn't mention some fact. Perhaps you can say, oh, I didn't realize that was the important bit of information. You see? You see how crucial it is to lie by omission. Because a passive lie is impossible to pin on you. Simple as that. See? And this is key, because if you passively lie, not actively lie, not tell tall tales, but let people infer things, that's how you can manipulate their perceptions of you. You see? You don't tell a lie. You let people think as they will by omitting key pieces of information. Telling a tall tale, telling a lie, exaggerating, You always get caught, or worse yet, sometimes people just don't believe you because of their experience, because we human beings are incredibly experienced at sussing out the truth, or of like at a glance realizing that what somebody is telling us is not really true. And if you tell a tall tale, say for instance that you're a billionaire, just for the sake of argument, you say that you're a billionaire, and see, that will make people suspect you because they will know it's a lie prima facie, because there are relatively few billionaires. The funny thing is that a lot of times something might be actually true in your life, but if you tell it, people won't believe you. I mean, you've probably had that experience, right? Yeah, like in my own case, I've met several famous people by sheer chance. I met Francis Ford Coppola at a Japanese sushi restaurant in Paris. That's a true story. But it's so outrageous that I rarely tell this story. I mean, I'm telling you here just to illustrate the point. It's such an outrageous truth that people don't believe it. See? I mean, it's just the way of human nature. So a lot of times you have to be careful with the true things that you tell, because if you don't have any kind of obvious and immediate evidence backing up that you met somebody or you did something or something happened to you, and if it sounds too outrageous, people will think that you're lying. See? It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, but that's a separate case. In the case of effectively lying, of lying properly, what you have to do is just let people believe what they will. You let people believe what they will, and you don't dissuade them. Let me give you an example. Suppose that you are very poor. You're really poor, and you're walking into a business meeting, and you really need this contract. Your firm is like almost broke. You personally are practically broke, but you need this contract to turn everything around. And so what do you do? What do you do? Well, you lie. And how do you lie? You lie by dressing up in very expensive clothes, and you maybe hire a couple of actors to walk into the meeting with you and pretend to be your assistants. You don't say, "These are my assistants." You just walk into the meeting with these two people who don't say a word during the whole meeting. Yeah, their job, they're actors, they're dressed up nicely in business suits and their hair all fixed up nice and conservative, and they're just there to pretend to be with you, but they don't say a word during the whole meeting. And you give your presentation to your prospective business partner, right? And you give this presentation to your prospective business partner, and because of this, you get the contract. That actually happened to somebody I know, or it didn't happen to somebody. I know somebody who did this. Yeah, he was flat broke. He was a guy from high school, and he needed a job, a business. He was selling a service. I don't want to get into too much detail, but the point is, he was selling a service to a big company, and he needed to show himself like a big guy, but he was a one-man shop. He was practically going down the toilet. He was in desperate, dire straits. He needed the contract. And so he got a couple of actors. Yeah, he really did. And he dressed them up, made them look all nice and sharp, and he walked into the meeting and he got the deal. Did he lie? No, he didn't. He allowed the client to infer that these people were with him and that his operation was bigger and doing better than it actually was. And in the end, he got the deal because of what the client inferred from that business meeting that had nothing to do with reality. It was a lie, but it was a lie of omission. He didn't say, "I hired these two actors to accompany me." You see? That would have been telling the truth. He lied by omission, but by omission, he allowed the client to infer something that was not true, that was to his benefit. But see, I know a different business deal where somebody flat out lied that they had the capability to do something, okay? It was in construction. And in point of fact, it happened in the sense that I was part of the team that was purchasing this service, this construction service. And the people offering this, they said that they had their own equipment and some other things and that they could do this deal. And we just looked into them a little bit and found out that they didn't have their own equipment, that they'd have to rent it, and that they were not as stable as they were portraying themselves. And therefore, it would run a risk. But the thing is, see, we would have been happy to take that risk had it not been for the fact that we caught them out in a lie. They lied about how solid they were, by pretending to own their own construction equipment, by pretending to have a bigger infrastructure that they actually had. And because of this, because of the lie, not because they were relatively small, but because of the lie, we decided not to go with them. You see? And you see how dangerous telling an active lie can be? An active lie can wreck you. A passive lie, well, always lie passively. Always lie by omission. Let other people think what they will. Don't tell them a lie. Just manipulate the information that they have so that they will come to their conclusions. A lie by omission is easy because you can explain it away. You can say that, oh, you forgot to mention it, or you didn't realize it was an important bit of information. An active lie, if you tell an active lie and you get caught, that's it. People don't trust you anymore. And ultimately in a society, in any society, we exist, it is built on trust. All societies are built on trust, and if you are across from somebody that you do not trust because they have told you one lie, and you caught them in that lie, then there's not going to be any kind of relationship. See? I mean, how many times has it happened that you've caught somebody in a lie, and that just changed your perception of them entirely? But how many times has somebody failed to tell you something and it didn't really affect what you thought of them? And you kind of like explained it away. You maybe said to yourself, oh yeah, they didn't realize how important it was, or maybe they forgot, or whatever. Yeah, you see? That's why you have to know how to lie. Never tell a lie. Let people just think what they will.